the original Season 3, Episode 18, The Devil Comes Here and Sighs. Now, I'm definitely about 2 weeks behind because it's probably, I don't know when I'm going to upload this. I might upload it recently. I don't really even know. But the latest episode is out already, and I can kind of guess what happened there because I'm sure Cami isn't going to die. But in this episode, we have a pretty crazy thing happen. We have quite a few revelations. Lucien finds out that he doesn't mean anything, and I love the way that Klaus played that. And I didn't notice this until the second time, because I couldn't really tell if he looked at the camera or not. But when I saw it the second time, I was like, no, he definitely looked at the camera. And it's like, oh, you know, what about Lucien and stuff? And Aurora's just like, oh, he's really doing great, but I don't really care that much about him. He's just a means to an end. And then, you know, she walks past, and Klaus is just like, how about that? So I don't know what sort of war he just started between the two of them, but with them both being so incredibly powerful, I don't know how that's really going to play out, because of course Lucien cared so much about her, and he might not care enough to really attack her or anything, but clearly Klaus let something out there, or he got something put out there that he knew would affect Lucien in some way, and he knew that it would. If it affects Lucien, then it affects Aurora, because Lucien's the guy with the plan. He's the one who wanted all this stuff to go down the way that it did. So I'm not sure how that's going to affect things between Lucien and Aurora, but it's not going to be great. But this whole episode was just Klaus getting beat up. You know, Lucien's like, I finally have the power to take you down. He tried to get him. He had the blade and everything. That didn't really work out too well for him. But ultimately, Klaus, he gets taken down and gets kidnapped. And Lucien leaves Aurora in charge, and she's just there waiting to taunt him and everything. And they go through this whole episode. They have all these issues. He's captured. They have to figure out what are we going to do. Cami, of course, is super freaked out because, her worst fear basically is come to life. So she's freaking out the whole episode, and yet everything's kind of going according to plan. Things are pretty crazy, but they go to save Klaus. We get a really cool moment because I never even thought of this before. I didn't even think it was possible. But when they did, when Aurora had Cami, and she's like, you know what happens when a vampire crosses a threshold that they're not allowed to, they're not welcomed into, and she forces her through. At first, I thought she was literally just gonna explode and die. But I love the way that they did that, because I never even considered that as an option. I didn't think it was even possible to force, them through. I thought they would, literally be crushed because it's a magical barrier. But if you use enough force, they will be pushed through. But it's just a huge curse. It's an instantaneous curse on them. It's slow acting because she was there. They were talking for almost a minute or so, and she was okay. But I thought that was really cool. I was like, man, that's an insane way to kill someone. And I thought it was a great villain move for Aurora, because it just seemed really cool. It's why don't I just torture you with her slow death? And she just, pushes her straight through the threshold. And I thought that was actually a really cool thing. But ultimately, solutions, come about for the good guys, and they solve all their issues. And then that leads to two really great moments at the end of this episode, because the other story in this one was still about Cole and the issues that he's facing with the ancestors, and Vincent even being, cast out as the regent. So he's, I kind of forgot the main thing. I guess the main thing is that you don't have as much power because you're not connected to the ancestors anymore, or at least not as connected to the ancestors. So I'm also curious what they're going to do with him, because he never wanted to go along with the plan, and I don't know if they're going to kind of stop him from having sort of any power whatsoever. But he's been cast out as the regent. That doesn't bode too well for Davina either, because the guy who takes over, of course he killed her mom. So, or she killed his mom. Sorry, I had that backwards. So that's not going to be too good for her either. And of course the stuff with Cole having, no control over his ability, they cancel out the bars effects where, it's a place that magic doesn't reach anymore. So unfortunately he can't, no matter where he is, he's going to continue to get darker and darker and lose control. And when he tries to leave, he ends up desiccating. So he's trapped within the city without any sort of control, which I thought was a really cool thing, because I was like, oh, they're he's going to take off and they're going to get rid of him from the show for a little while. And then it's like, nope, he gets out and he instantly starts desiccating. So he has to jump back over city limits in order to survive. So he's trapped within the city, which I think is really cool. So they have that great moment at the end. And then we have our final scene where Lucien shows up at Cami's apartment like, man, you're the superhero today, huh? And it's like, well, I don't like that. You screwed up my plan. I'm super pissed. Of course, I think this was more backlash on Klaus than it was on Cami for rescuing Klaus. And it's like, alright, well, I'm super pissed, so came here, killed off the person that had the deed to your place, and now I'm gonna attack you. And, they have their little moment, and he bites her at the end, and it's like, crap, she could easily die. Now, I haven't seen the most recent episode, but I'm gonna assume they saved her, like I said. But that was a great way to end the episode. Like, those two moments, we have Cole, who's trapped in the city. They have no way to really control him. Like, all they had was that bar. And it's like, things are fine. He and Davina are dancing and stuff. And then the magic goes away once Vincent is kind of cast out as regent. So we have a lot of different changes within this episode. Cami is in danger now. Lucien knows the truth about how Aurora feels, and who knows, like I said, who knows how that's going to really play out. And then we have, just everything, everything all at once is its own little emotional struggle as well. So there are a lot of different elements that I'm looking forward to seeing play out. But we have a lot of crazy changes based on this one episode. We have allegiances thrown out of whack. We have one character who's currently fatally wounded. We have Cole, who's going to fatally wound a lot of other people if they can't control him, which makes me wonder. I doubt they're going to kill him because they took the time to bring him back, and they brought back like the original actor and everything. So I doubt that he's going to be killed off, kind of like Finn was, which, once again, that really surprised me as well. But I doubt that they're going to have Cole get killed off permanently as well. So I don't think that'll be the case, and they'll be able to find something out for him. But I don't know. It's kind of tricky. Like, I don't know how they're going to really play this, because we still don't have Rebecca in the show. And there's still just a lot of different elements to it. So I don't know. Like, she's cursed, so they have, they can't bring her back until they figure that whole curse out and everything happening with her. And now we have this other curse on Cole, because when he was brought back, the ancestors tainted with the spell. So he's going to continue to lose control and get crazier and crazier, even with his own family. So there are a lot of elements that are not really good for, the main characters at this point. So there's a lot of troubles coming their way. And I don't know what to expect from Lucien and Aurora now because of their split. They're obviously going to have a split in some fashion. They aren't going to be as close as they were in this episode because of what she just said. So it's a little hard to tell where they're going to take their allegiance. But like I said, I feel like what Klaus did in getting Aurora to say that is really what led Lucien to attack Cami. Way more than the fact that Cami was the one that, released Klaus. I really think it was more about the fact that Klaus was the one that got that crappy information, put out into the world, and that made him really angry. It's like, okay, well, once again, I lost my girl. You're going to do the same. And in this way, it's different because Aurora did that, the first time, like, okay, I can't have you, nobody can. And now this time, he's about to lose Cami because Lucien's like, well, if I can't have my girlfriend, you can't have your girlfriend. Neither of us get to have the woman we love. So Cami's just always in the crappiest situation. I don't know how, but it's amazing that somehow it seems to be worse for her as a vampire than it was as the human on the show, which is crazy. But I feel like that's actually worse because if he bit her before, she wouldn't, it would have hurt. Like, obviously he could have just snapped her neck and killed her. But, like, he could have tortured her, and that's how that would have went and be like, okay, of course she's going to live. But in this case, there's a bit of a question. And I once again, just like with Cole, I doubt they're going to kill off Cami. I highly doubt it, because they already did the fake death, which I thought, she actually died, and it was like, no, she was turned into a vampire because it was more for the mental aspect than just, well, either way it would have been a mental aspect, but it was much more for the fact that would separate Klaus and Cami, which we find out a lot in this episode. They have a nice little hint from Hayley, where it's like, despite what she said, like, you should definitely go thank Cami, because despite what she said about not wanting to love you, it doesn't change the feelings that are still there. And they have that little moment where Elijah looks at her when she says that. And I didn't notice that when I first watched the episode either. I was like, oh, okay, that was a nice little hint where she says that. And, maybe, their relationship will spark up later on where it's like she said that she can't because of Jackson, but it doesn't mean that she doesn't. So I thought that was a cool little moment kind of thrown out there for Elijah's sake more than anything else. But it was a fun episode. I'm excited to watch this next one, and I doubt I'll catch up before the latest episode comes out this Friday, but I hope I do. I'm really excited to see what happens in this next one. But of course, I definitely want to know what you guys thought about this one. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and the next episode has already been released. But I definitely want to know for both our characters that are in pretty crappy situations, what do you think is going to happen with Cami, whether or not she's going to live or die? Like I said, I'm pretty sure she'll live. And what do you think is going to happen with Cole? Because his death isn't really like imminent or anything. It's more about him being pushed beyond, the ability to control himself. And then that'll cause everyone else to kind of react. And they might have to react in a way that ends him permanently. Although I would assume they could just dagger him once again, like with Rebecca's like, oh, he's cursed too, gotta dagger him. So they might end up doing that by the end, which would be funny if like everyone just gets cursed and it's like, don't know, daggered. But that could be the way it ends up trending, and that would kind of be another way to take him out of the show temporarily. But they could easily bring him back later on. But I definitely want to know what you think is going to happen with both of those characters and the issues that they're facing, and of course what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.